Alright guys, so as you can probably tell, I'm in my amazing Ford Focus rental right now. So we got a little bit of an update on the car. The Master Tech called me back from AutoNation Ford, and turns out that my third to fourth gear shift fork actually split entirely in half. As well as my first to second shift fork is actually missing an ear. So there's a couple of reasons for this, and I'm actually going to go over that in this video so that everyone kind of gets a more general idea of what exactly happened to the car and why it happened to the car. So the shift forks in the 2018 MT82 4D are different than the previous years. Ford redesigned the entire transmission with the hopes of making a stronger, lighter, cheaper transmission for them to produce. So they redesigned the transmission. The forks are completely different than any other year, which is one of the main reasons why the warranty work being done on my car, it's getting replaced with the same shift forks, which worries me a little bit. They're cast aluminum shift forks instead of steel that were present in the past years, the 11 through 17 years basically. So by using the cast aluminum, Ford was able to cut down on cost and also cut down on weight. However, it significantly reduces the strength of them. They get brittle and crack under stress. So mine let go during a normal shift. I was shifting from second to third at 40 and it just kind of disappeared. That's not to say I didn't beat on the car before. If you've watched a couple of videos ago, I talked about how awesome I thought the transmission was and how much I beat the shit out of it. So I did. I beat the shit out of the transmission. However, a transmission in a mostly stock car with 7,000 miles on it, regardless of how much I beat on it, should not break in the way that it broke. I'll put a couple of pictures up that the tech sent me over. When it comes to a brand new car, 7,500 miles with minor bolt-ons, the transmission should not have broken in the way that it did. That's why it's covered under warranty. That's why it's, I mean, yes, the car is tuned. Yes, it has headers, but it's becoming an increasingly known problem. I can't tell you the amount of people that have messaged me on here, that have messaged me on Instagram, that went ballistic when I posted it on Facebook. It's becoming a big issue. And as of right now, Ford has no answer for it. Ford's replacing everybody's with the same old cast aluminum shift forks. They don't have a plan for an upgrade, and honestly, I don't see them doing an upgrade. I see them brushing this off as an issue, as they did with the 11 to 12 Mustangs when they had engine failure problems, and I think they're going to do it again, and I think 19's going to come out, and it's going to be a different revision of the transmission, which is kind of disappointing. I guess that's the reason why they say to never buy a first year. My 13 was a first year, and it treated me fine. So I don't know what the difference was here with the 18, other than the fact that, like I said, Ford cheaped out a bit. So I'm really hoping that someone in the aftermarket community comes through and designs a set of billet shift forks for us. I'm actually in talks with a couple of companies right now about purchasing a set of the stock forks and sending them off to them and having a billet set made, and then possibly bringing them to market, because I feel like it's going to be a needed part. I already know that I am not the only one that's had this issue happen. I've seen a couple people now who are on their second and third transmissions in their brand fucking new car. That's unacceptable. In any facet of the word. I don't even care if they're the worst drivers in the world. It should not break that way under stock power. It shouldn't. And it's not just the manual. The 10R80 is having some issues too. There's a local guy running around. Blew up his transmission. He's on his second. I've seen a couple of them on the forum. So it's not like it's just an MT82 thing. It's almost like a Ford quality control thing. And I'm honestly hoping that the batch that mine came from, that those cast aluminum forks were just weaker, that there was a problem with the casting, and that was the issue right there. And then I get the new transmission and they put the new shift forks in it, and it just works. It's just butter once again, and I don't have this issue. So I don't know, it's a long shot, it's a hope. However, the car is getting warranty work done. It is currently Friday. Next week on Wednesday is when the parts will arrive, and I was told that I'll have my car back by Friday of next week. So I got another week in the Focus. I can deal with that, especially with it being covered and everything. So I got a week. The car will come back. It's just in time for Palm Beach Cars and Coffee. I'm excited about it. I'll actually get to drive the car for over a day, because I only got to drive the car for less than 24 hours after we put the headers on. So I still don't really have a realistic feeling for like the gains and the difference that the headers make, and I'm really excited to see what a difference the Texas Speed and Performance headers made overall on the car. On 93, before we converted to E85 and, you know, go to the dyno and take it to the track and do a little bit more fun with it. I also wanted to throw out there that there's always going to be this group of people that say it's driver error. Always, 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 always there's the group that says the MT82 doesn't suck, mine's lasted forever, it's because you guys suck at driving. I'm going to reiterate again. I had 76,000 miles on my 2013. It made 700 foot-pounds of torque and over 800 wheel horsepower. I drove the absolute dog shit out of that car for 76,000 miles. I beat the crap out of it, way more than I've even begin to touch the 18. And it was fine. It was also a different design. I thoroughly believe that this time around, it is not driver error when it comes to the MT82. I think that there is a little bit of that. I think that you can put a little bit of blame on the driver. You can't put all the blame, but you can put a little bit. If you feel a gear being forced in, and you force it in, that's your fault. If it's grinding and you continue to force it, or you continue to power shift, that's your fault. However, for those of us that drove the car, and I say those of us as if I'm one of them, those of them who drove the car as a daily and 3,000 miles in, their transmission grenaded when it was bone stock, you can't call that driver error. You can't. If you grenade a transmission bone stock, then it obviously wasn't built to the limits that even the stock car makes. So what makes them think it's ever going to be good enough once we exceed those limits? Because you don't buy a Mustang to keep it stock. You don't. There's a very small percentage of people who do. There's a very small percentage of people who look at it and go, it's a fantastic looking car, and, you know, I want that to be my daily. I want to be seen in that. But very, very, very few of them say that and then leave it the way it is. So if Ford's plan was to make a transmission that just barely exceeded the limits of the stock car, they fucked up there, because all of us in the aftermarket community aren't going to leave it stock. And as long as we can continue to show that the transmission is the weak point and that the modifications that we did didn't affect the transmission, they're going to have to keep replacing it. So I think Ford made an oopsie there. I think Ford tried to go a little bit cheaper, and I think it's biting them in the ass right now. However, none of this is to say that I am not happy with my 18. I still love it. I still think it's better than my 13. I think it's better than any car I've ever owned. I love the car. I do. It is fan-fucking-tastic. And that one little tiny day that I got with headers on it brought me back to what I really, really enjoyed about having my first Mustang. So I love the car still. That didn't change with the braking of the transmission. And I'm gonna love it even more when it comes back, and knowing that I'm gonna be able to, if this happens again, bring it back in and have it taken care of, makes it that much easier to love the car, you know, as I do. So that's what's happening to the car. That's how I feel about it. That's what I feel personally that the issues are with the MT82, and like I said, I don't really see Ford doing much to remedy it right now, especially after knowing that they're putting stock parts back in mine. So it is what it is. The transmission broke, and if it wasn't a faulty batch of, you know, shift forks, then it might happen again, and I might be making another video like this in another 7,000 miles. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and find out. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and drop any ideas of what you guys want to see, or, you know, review my review in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.